Good morning. It is Sunday, um, Sunday, October 25th, and we have just a little bit over a week to go before the election. It's been a while since I've been on, but it's been a very interesting week, week and a half since I've been on, and it's been crazy to say that. I did vote. I did early voting, and I did end up voting for the entire ticket. And a lot of things, um, you know, made me go in the direction of voting the way I usually have my entire life. And some reasons have been ongoing for my entire life. One party, again, we're forced to vote only for Republicans. If you're voting Green Party, if you're voting Independent, in the system that we have presently, it's completely irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything. You're not making a statement. That's the system that we have, and that's unfortunate. The system after this election needs to be completely torn down and completely rebuilt. The Constitution needs to be amended with the Electoral College being the main focus of being removed, and direct voting, one person, one vote. It is irrelevant what geography, where you live, on how you vote for the President of the United States. It should be completely and utterly irrelevant. It doesn't matter what side of the Ohio River you're on, Ohio or Kentucky. It doesn't matter what side of the Hudson River you're on, New York or New Jersey. It doesn't matter. You're one person, you're one vote, and no matter where you are located, there should not be a group of people in between you and the president and the vice president. It is the most unnatural way and most corrupt way of voting that practically exists on Earth. And again, as I've mentioned in the past, the history of the Electoral College is steeped in slavery and blood and chains and men on horseback writing down African Americans all over the colonies and all over the southern states and all over almost every state up until the 18 and into the 1860s, where they would come and take the slave back. And the Electoral College, unfortunately, has a lot to do with that. It was a way to provide Southern plantation owners power they really did not have, because the number of people simply living in the South was about 1/3 the population of the rest of the country at the time of the Constitution. And the only way they could get that power, political power, was to include African Americans. And they were only allowed to include 2/3. That was the agreement between the northern and southern states. 2/3 for each African American, so that the African American still couldn't vote, couldn't own land, couldn't do anything but be a slave in the southern states. And yet they were forced to provide their labor for free and be slaves in the meantime, give up their life, but they couldn't vote, even though The plantation owners in the southern structure was given 2/3 of that body over to the political power, and that's the Electoral College. And that's where we are now. And that it shouldn't be if, it has to be now. We are at a crossroads, not only in our country, but on the history of this planet, because of climate change and the pollution that's gone on over the past 100 years, basically the latter part of the Industrial Revolution, basically between the 1880s and today. It's 140 years of pollution, of plastics, of oil, of chemicals in the air, in the ground, and the water. And there is no if, and there is no Democrat, and there is no Republican, there is no politics involved in this issue. This is an issue of survivability. Uh, there is no one side or the other. The problem is survivability on our planet. And the only way to do it after this election is to push the Democratic Party, if it takes power, push it as far to the left as possible, or as progressive as possible, or towards survivability as possible. However you want to couch it, doesn't matter. However you want to label it, does not matter. The things that need to happen are the end of the oil era. The end of the oil era must be this year and not tomorrow. It has to be now, today. That in policy of this country, like a number of other Northern European countries, oil must be replaced completely with no exceptions. There are 300 to 400 million vehicles on the roads of the United States today. There should be no fossil fuel engines allowed within 24 months. Zero. None. You build the plants and change the plants to build fossil fuel free engines, green energy engines, whether it's electric or any other kind. And that makes sense from a pollution point of view. And you would have, I don't want to hear about there not being enough jobs. There would be millions of jobs, millions, and they're all well-paying jobs. The jobs that we have lost over the last 60, 70 years would return, because now you've got to build 300 million vehicles within the next few years. Humanity can do it. America can do it. It could be done like that if the will to break the corruption that rules this country is attacked and finally defeated. The corruption in this country must be defeated. Must be defeated. That is number one. That is the number one issue. The number two issue is that the era of war and confrontation cannot be simply put in a history book. It must end, because we are on the verge of annihilation, really. We have weapons that can annihilate this world. We've had them long before, 15 years before I was born, 10 years before I was born. And on our whole lives, these weapons have been a threat over the survivability of our planet. And human beings have not been and never will be mature enough to be God and play God. And these weapons must be melted down and turned into housing developments for affordable housing developments for people who need the housing. And again, millions of jobs talking about housing. We're talking about transportation, a revolution in housing and transportation, and a revolution in rail service, in that there should be high-speed rail. Again, millions of jobs in high-speed rail, building the infrastructure for that, and having high-speed rail internally in each state as needed, and interstate as needed, and on a regional basis where high-speed rail is really the strongest, where you can connect all of the large cities in a region such as Texas and the central states and the southern states, and connect them all with high-speed rail. And you connect the Northeast with high-speed rail, the entire Mid-Atlantic and Great Lakes. And then, of course, you have the coast to coast and Canada to Mexico. Why isn't it being done today? Has nothing to do with Republican. Every Republican, you want to make America great? We should be building high-speed rail from one coast to the other, from one large city to the other, from one farm area to the other, so that the people of this country have the best transportation system in the world, and also high-speed freight, so that the cost of freight goes down, and the time that it's on freight trains is cut down and is made more efficient. And the infrastructure, whether it's 5G or whatever else it is, should be free for everyone in this country, free. And um, the infrastructure for it should be built from bottom to top. And there should be no reason why anybody in this country does not have the best internet on this planet. It's just pathetic that it's just corrupt. It's the United States taxpayers paid for the development of internet. Everybody should be getting it for free. Free. There should be no companies involved in taking your money on a monthly basis. It is the most corrupt system. It's just disgusting that you're paying 150, 250, 300 bucks for internet connections, which, including me, they go up, they go down, they go up. There's days we get it, we don't get it, and I'm just outside of Boston. So there are so many other big issues, but those are the big issues that need to be addressed right after this election if the Democrats win. I still think that Biden is going to win. I don't know how big a landslide it's going to be. It may or not be a landslide. I don't know. To me, it still looks like somewhere between 340 and 400 electoral votes for Joe Biden. There's no way of knowing whether Florida, Georgia, a few others, go one way or the other. It looks like they're all heading into, a blue vote. All of the states that have early voting, the early voting is unbelievable. It's spectacular. I went yesterday on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, and the line was out the door, and they had just opened. They just opened. Now, I've been a poll watcher for many, many years. And to tell you the truth, on election day, we didn't have lines like that. So I'm expecting record numbers here. I'm sure it's going to be record numbers in almost every state. People are, from what I can tell, people are motivated to get rid of this guy who's in the White House now. I mean, motivated, because they see a threat from the judicial side of things, from economic side of things, through the healthcare side of things, and from international and foreign affairs side of things. I've never seen anything like it. So is it going to be a Biden blowout or a Democratic blowout where we get back the Senate? I don't know. Nobody is sitting in front of you on the internet knows for sure what it looks like. I've gone over the numbers just like a lot of other people. I've gone over the numbers day after day after day after day after day. I am a banker. I have been a banker for 40 years. I see banking trends. I see money trends. I see economic trends every single day on my desk, on TV, everywhere. And from what I can see, what I can smell, what I feel, what I believe is that at least it does look like a Democratic sweep. There are certain states that I think are going to be challenged by this president. There are days where I think he's not going to challenge, and all of the nonsense of, is Trump going to leave if he loses? I think it's just a part of me is saying he's going to leave faster than anybody. As soon as he loses, he's going to go to the White House, get his sleeping bag, and he's going to leave. He isn't sticking around. He's got other things he's going to do to screw his own life up. So part of me feels that way. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be, he's not leaving. We have to, excuse me, that, he's not leaving, and we have to get the Army and the Navy and the Marines and all that crap. I don't think it's going to come to that. So anyway, that's it for now, and we'll talk to you in a little while. Thanks a lot. Sorry for the hiccups. I'm human.